to Chris and Gina. Today I'm going to be doing a story time on when I found out I was pregnant with Chloe. So if you guys would like to stay tuned, go ahead and let's get straight into the video. So when I first found out I was pregnant, I was 17 years old at the time. And I had asked my brother's girlfriend if she could go buy me some pregnancy tests because I didn't want to go buy them by myself, so I asked her to. So she actually came with me and she bought them for me because I didn't have money at the time. So I didn't take them like right away. I waited about 2 weeks to take them. So once I took them, I was home alone, nobody was around, and I took them, and you know how it says on the box, wait 2 to 10 minutes for it to pop up. As soon as like I dipped it in the pee, I know that's gross, but as soon as I dipped it in the pee, it showed up right away, positive. I was like, oh my God. So the first thing I did was take a picture of the pregnancy and send it to Chris, and he was like, I don't believe it because sometimes pregnancy tests are wrong. They say you're pregnant, but you're really not. So he's like, I'm not gonna believe it till we go to a doctor. So I was just like, okay, well, if you don't want to believe it, I know I'm pregnant, so it doesn't matter. But one of the ways I really knew I was pregnant was because, well, first I had a missed period. Well, it wasn't like a completely missed period, but it was spotting. So like I would have a little bit of, it was pink and it wasn't really like a period. So I was like, okay, yeah, missed period means you're pregnant. And then two, literally every time I ate, like I couldn't keep nothing down. I would eat and I would just throw it right up. Like it wouldn't stay down. Like, okay, maybe it stayed down for 2 minutes, but right after I would just throw up. So my mom actually caught on to like me throwing up. She noticed that I missed my period. So she had asked me, are you pregnant? And I was just like, no, why would you say that? She's like, well, you can't keep nothing down and I know you missed your period. And I was just like, no, I actually got it. She was like, okay, no, you're lying, tell me the truth. So I was like, okay, well, it was just like pink and it wasn't really a period. She was like, well, we need to go get some pregnancy tests. So then again, she took me to go get some pregnancy tests. And I already knew it was going to come out positive, so I was just like, I took it and I gave it to her. And then I started crying because I was like, Dad's gonna find out, he's gonna kill me, he's not gonna like me, he's not gonna talk to me anymore. She's like, it's gonna be okay, he's gonna talk to you, he's gonna love you and the baby regardless. Like a baby, he's not gonna be mean to the baby, like he's gonna love her. And so yeah, so then she kept the secret from me because I told her not to tell my dad, so she kept the secret from me for about 3 weeks. But then, she was telling me, oh, you need to go and tell your dad that you're pregnant because I feel like I'm lying to him by keeping this secret, and you need to tell him, and you can't tell him by yourself. You need Chris there to tell him because you didn't do it by yourself, so you both need to tell him. So I still didn't tell him. Like, I just didn't want to tell him. So then one night I came home from Chris's house and I went to the bathroom. Well, I didn't go to the bathroom. I laid down in bed because I was going to go to bed. Like I always do. When I come home, every time I went to Chris's house, I would come home at like 11 o'clock and go straight to the bed. Well, straight to my room and go to bed. And so I was laying there and all of a sudden I felt like a gush of something come out. Well, not something, I knew it was blood. So I went to the bathroom and it was just gushing out blood everywhere. And I went and told my mom, like, the toilet, it's full of blood, I don't know what's wrong. So I told her, come look. So she went and looked and she's like, oh my God, we need to get you to the emergency. You could be having a miscarriage. She's like, go get dressed, put something on, and let's go. We gotta go right now. So then she's like, and you better go tell your dad right now. So I was like, oh my God, this is what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go tell my dad at all. I wanted I wanted her to tell her, so I hid behind my mom's dresser in her room. It's like there's the door and then there's a dresser, so you could hide. And so I hid and I was like, you tell him, you tell him. So she's like, we had to take Gina to the emergency. And so he was like, why? And she's like, because she could be having a miscarriage. Well, that's not what she said. First she said, well, because about 2 weeks ago she took a test and it came out positive, but she's bleeding now, so she might be having a miscarriage, so we need to go now. So he was like, he just like, ugh, and got so mad, and he's like getting dressed, and so we went and picked up Chris, and my dad was super mad. He didn't talk the whole way to the emergency. He didn't talk when we got to the emergency. He was just quiet. He didn't even want to look at me. He didn't, nothing. He was just blank face, like mad, with his arms crossed watching the TV in the emergency room. And then, so Chris, he ended up calling, because it was like 12 o'clock at night already. Like, it was 12 o'clock at night, and I told Chris, we need to go to the emergency. So he's like, okay. So he got dressed. He came with me. And so he ended up calling his mom while we were at the emergency, telling her, well, Gina might be having a miscarriage. So Chris's mom actually found out the same way my dad found out, and she was really mad too. She didn't even want to, she was just mad. Like, she would look at us, she would look at me, and then she'd look at Chris and go like shake her head like, I can't believe you guys did that. So, yeah, she was just shaking her head. She kept looking back and forth at me and Chris and was just shaking her head. And my mom, she was just sitting there all calm and collective, rubbing my back, telling me it's gonna be okay. She was the only one supportive of the whole thing. So then it was time. The guy came and got me and took an ultrasound, and he's like, well, the baby is okay. It doesn't look like there's anything wrong. The baby is perfectly fine. So then I get an ultrasound, and he's like, it looks like you're about 16 weeks pregnant. So when I found out I was pregnant, I was already 4 months pregnant. So I was happy because actually it wasn't like a mistake. We knew what we were doing. We wanted a baby at the time, so that's what we did. And so when I went back to the waiting room, I showed Chris the ultrasound picture. He's like, oh my God, it's real. And I was like, I told you, I've been telling you I was pregnant, and you didn't believe me. And he's like, well, now I had to believe you. I see the picture. And I was like, yeah. So then I showed my mom, and my mom's like, oh my God, we're having another grandbaby. She was excited, and I didn't show my dad the picture. I was like, I'll just wait. So then his mom looks at it. She looks at the picture, she's like this, and then she just shakes her head, and then she just didn't say nothing. And then she gave us back the picture. Excuse me. And I was happy because I was like, oh my God, I'm having a baby. So, yeah. So then when I went home, that night we went home, and my dad, he was like, come here. And I was like, okay. So I went over there. He's like, I'm sorry, I was mad. I was just hurt, but I'm going to love you and the baby regardless. That's my granddaughter, so no matter what, I'm going to take care of her. He's like, I'm not mad at you no more. He's like, I'm happy. And so, yeah, everything went good after that. And then it was time to tell my brother. Oh, that was another hard part because my brother was, super mad at me, too. And, yeah, my brother was mad. He didn't even talk to me for a week. He just would roll his eyes at me, and I'd be like, okay. And then after, so I didn't want him to be mad at me. So I broke the ice or whatever, and I asked him and his girlfriend to be the godparents to Chloe. So they are Nino and Nina, and now they love her. They always want to be with her. But after a month went by, everybody was fine. Everybody was happy. And yeah, so I was really happy, and Chris was happy too. So that is how my pregnancy story went when I found out I was pregnant. If any of you guys are pregnant, you guys should jot down your guys' stories down below in the comments section. But I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. You guys can like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll be back for more videos. Bye!